Those willing to fight against Shinra's tyranny
You
are
Midgarinos
in
are
the
something
process.
else. When I saw you on the news, I was blown away.
Violence isn't the answer.
And here you are, lending me a hand. It's literally a dream come true. So, here's the situation. There's this big lighthouse down by the cape, and someone calling themselves the Merc of Junon has turned it into their hideout or something.
Kyrie.
Oh, are they an acquaintance of yours?
Sorta.
What are the chances? I don't know about you, but I think fate brought us together. Anyway, that place has got a killer view. We used to go up there all the time and just chill. But it's too dangerous with all the monsters around, and that merc hasn't done a thing about him. So I was hoping you could do me a solid and convince that merc to help us out. They've done many a good deed in Midgar and all throughout the grasslands. Allegedly, that is. And like, if they're so good at doing good, then why aren't they doing anything now? The lighthouse is up ahead, right on the cape. Apparently, it used to guide ships back in the Republic days, but that was like forever ago. Anyway, it's super out of the way and crawling with monsters. Anyone who thinks customers will come calling is out of their mind. Yo, you're the best! You know, I just knew I could count on you.
So, you gonna help, or
Me?
you can sniff out trouble?
I suppose that does make me the most suitable candidate.
Oh, pro tip. If you ever get the chance, you ought to swing by the hill, too. You might even catch a glimpse of the Great Condor if you're lucky. If you're into that kind of
There
stuff.
is a whole nother town out here. That is really something here, because I was expecting the game to at least to sort of be hindered to an extent by the structure of the original game, much like how the remake was. So when you get to this area, you have two places that you can go to. Maybe there's more, like the caves or whatever, but there's Junon, and then there's Fort Condor. Now they've locked Fort Condor away from us, and we can't get to that as far as I can tell, at least. But they went and they created this extra town called Crow's Nest, and it's a group of Shinra dissenters or dissidents who've moved out here because like Shinra has no control out here, which was kind of what Fort Condor was supposed to be in the original game. A bunch of people that took over a Mako reactor to prevent Shinra from going up there and killing the Condor that had nested on its roof. So they were fighting apart. They were apart from Shinra. They actually hired an army of mercenaries in order to defend it from Shinra. But, you know, Fort Condor itself, I'm guessing, is going to have a more of an impact later on in the game, probably in the next game, actually. Because you didn't have to fight at Fort Condor until much later on in the game, when you're playing as Sid. Although you did have the option of playing it earlier. Anyway, we have this... What I was trying to say, anyway, was they are experimenting more with the idea of creating a version of the world that is even more apart from the original. So in the previous area we were at, you had more or less just the same places that you had before. You had Calm, there was Midgar off in the distance, and then you had Chocobo Branch. Then you had these little buildings here or there that weren't really significant, but they didn't create entire towns. And towns are really what you need in a game like this in order to be questing hubs. So you would move into a town, you talk to the NPCs, you pick up quests and check notice boards or whatever, and that's how you build up all your stuff. Now, what I was concerned about was not so much in this game, but in the next game, whatever that's going to be called. I don't know, Final Fantasy VII something. Who the hell cares? Because once you get to that late part of the game, which is after Aerith dies, you're going to have Icicle Inn, you're going to have Medial, and those are the only two towns that you're, new towns anyway, that you're going to go to. And, like, yeah, sure, you got to go back to Rocket Town and whatever. But unless they created something new, there was going to be a big chunk of the game that you're just not going to, there's not going to be a lot of towns to visit. And is that game going to be populated with older towns from this game you go back to? Well, this shows that they're willing to create new.
They certainly poured their energy into the promotional aspect.
They'll be thrilled to hear it. Let's go.
So that doof, Toby, went and told us that, hired us anyway, to go in here and check on this. So there was a mercenary that was hired, or, no, maybe the mercenary wasn't hired, but a mercenary took up residence in this lighthouse. Left a lot of shit behind, apparently. Balloons and items. And we've been asked to go and try to get the mercenary, I guess, to go and clear out all the monsters. Because guys like, geez, like, we got all these monsters and they're dangerous. Do you think that mercenary would have done something about it by now? So, you know, hire an actual mercenary.
Greetings. Kyrie, Merc of Junon. And you are? Oh, man. Here I got all excited thinking I had a customer. Well, thanks for making the trip out here to say hi, fellow Merc.
Not your fellow anything. And quit calling yourself a merc. You're giving the real ones a bad name.
What even is a Merc? Nobody really knows. And besides, arguably this whole mess can be laid at your feet, mister. I came all the way out to Junon to strike it rich, but nobody knows we're here. Or even that we exist. Zero publicity, which means zero clients. I mean, this is business 101. Since you suck so bad at self-promotion, I had to pick up the slack and come up with an ad campaign. But, like, what's your brand? Tall, blonde, and not interested? Sounds like a one-way ticket to bankruptcy to me.
Allergies.
What? Shut up. This thing can talk?
Indeed.
Aww, aren't you just the most adorable boy? Hey, you know, I've always wanted a pet of my own. Come here, come to mama. Yikes. Okay, scratch that. Right. Anyway, as I was saying, I'm putting in all this work for us, yet we haven't managed to bring in a single customer. And if we don't get one really soon, your CEO and PR head is as good as done. But not to worry. I put my creative skills to work and came up with this ditty. Pretty good, right? Folks will be lining up in no time. Wait, monsters? Well, what could have drawn them here?
I'm sure your aggressive advertising has nothing to do with it.
Please, Cloud, you gotta help me! After all, nobody knows how to take down monsters like a Merc.
So hire yourself. You're a pro, aren't you?
Come on, don't be petty. Oh, I'll even give you some of these.
Pass.
Wait, our lives are in as much danger as hers now. We have to fight.
The Final Fantasy creators seem to have this fascination with a certain type of character. I'm not sure, there's got to be a term for it. But I'm just going to call her the peppy young girl. A girl who's probably, I don't know how old Kyrie is. I would say she's probably around 20. Who knows? Maybe a little younger than that. 18, I don't know. But she is full of energy. She talks fast. She has these over-the-top exaggerated animations. Her animations are a lot like the kind of things that you had seen in the original game, where they had to be exaggerated on account of the primitive graphics of the day. But it really comes across as strange in the modern day with modern graphics. But there were a lot of characters like this in the old Final Fantasy games. So you had Yuffie was that character in the original game. And it seems a little strange that they have Kyrie here in the same game that they have Yuffie. But they created her for the previous, or she was in the previous anyway. So they wanted to carry her through, I guess because they felt people might have liked the character enough. Final Fantasy VIII, Selphie was that character. 10, it was Riku. It's just a thing that they've done over and over again. And I feel like there has been a little bit of hit and miss when it comes to this. 13, you had, what was her name? A little bit less of an obnoxious character, but she came across as more obnoxious because of the tone of the game. Friggin' hell, what was her name? The one that wore the pink top and had the funny hair. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. Those characters, you can have hit or miss. Like everybody, a lot of people like Yuffie. I didn't really much care for Yuffie, but a lot of people liked Yuffie. You had Selphie, everybody loved Selphie. But, you know, I find as I get older, my patience for that kind of character just doesn't last. Feels like they're really obnoxious. And if they're young enough, then I guess you can blame it on their youth. But it's still, you gotta put up with the character. And they already have Yuffie here. It is kind of funny to note that they have both Yuffie and Kyrie in this game. And Kyrie wants to join the party. And Cloud and I guess everyone else is just flat out refusing. We're not going to have you here. But Yuffie, although she hasn't joined the party, and in fact seems to insist that she's letting us join her, is eventually going to be allowed to join the party. And I guess it's just going to come down to the fact that Yuffie can fight and Kyrie can't. In fact, this whole mission is about how Kyrie can't fight, and she's basically going to get herself killed if she doesn't calm the fuck down. She goes out to this place. She sets herself up as being a mercenary and goes to these places and gets hired by these people and then can't do the job. The first one, she was repairing a Mako pipeline. They're like, okay, a mercenary. You're going to hire a mercenary to repair a pipeline. Okay, whatever. It's something she was actually capable of doing, repairing it. But she couldn't source the materials, and she couldn't fight the enemies at a station near the pipeline. Now this one's a little bit more egregious. She didn't take a job, but she set up a shop in this a shop in this lighthouse that doesn't have any walls, and would have gotten attacked by these monsters and probably would have been killed if we weren't here. So it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, we don't want you a part of this party. You're annoying, and you can't do anything to contribute. and I guess not terribly dissimilar, although she's she's more irritating anyway. So I had, for a number of years at least, I ended up failing to achieve it, but I was developing my own RPG, and I had created a character which sort of had some of the same features, in the sense that she was not a combatant. She would follow the party around, but she wasn't somebody who was going to help you in the fighting. And her role in the story and whole role in the party was to do sort of like negotiations or something. She was going to be like the sort of dedicated shopkeeper. She would source all the stuff that you were trying to buy. Duty calls. But she'd have a role in the storyline. But whenever going got tough, she got out of the freaking way. And a lot of the characters hated her because she was kind of a wuss and a coward. And I was so worried that people would just despise this character. And I wasn't quite sure I could figure out how to write her in a way that wouldn't piss people off. But I should have just done what Final Fantasy VII did and have you hate her anyway. Well, I don't know. Do people hate this character? She's being portrayed as something of an antagonistic force, although she's not. She's very greedy in the original, and she's come across as greedy here, but she's not really malicious. She doesn't do anything seemingly trying to harm anybody. So I guess there's a degree of sympathy you can have towards her, but she is in way over her head, like, all the damn time, and she keeps doing things to hurt other people. Like in the original and remake. So her character appeared a few different times during the remake, but I guess you can be forgiven for not noticing her until fairly late in the game, where she is seen acting as a crier, going and denouncing Avalanche, parroting some Shinra propaganda lines. She does it because she wants people to pay her for it. But she is, like, talking shit on Avalanche and putting them in danger. Now, from her perspective, she probably wasn't really doing anything wrong, even if she perhaps was. If you're, of course, willing to make the claim that Avalanche are the good guys. And I guess they're not going to have her do anything so antagonistic in this game. Have her just sort of dicking around a lot more in this than she did in the original. Anyway, we'll see. If we've seen her twice in the game so far, I'm sure we will see her more later on. Probably once in every region.
And now I know why I wasn't getting any customers. Nobody could get past all those uglies.
I'm glad you learned something.
Oh well. Guess I'll just have to close up shop and clear out. Anyway, I'm gonna split, but I'm sure you can take it from here. Catch you later, fellow Merc.
Hey,
Wanna leave with Mama? Come on, you know you do. Okay, later.
I wouldn't wish her on my worst enemy.
you and me both.
My dudes! I saw the monsters headed your way. I couldn't help but worry. But it looks like I worried for nothing. I should have known Avalanche could hold their own. Out of curiosity, what happened to that Merc?
She moved on.
Bummer. Well, guess we should get this place cleaned up. Oh yeah, Rhonda was telling me you do Merc work on the side too. For real? I can't believe you didn't say anything. Best buds don't keep secrets, you know. But I hope you'll lend me a hand the next time I need help. Avalanche by day, traveling Mercs by night. I don't know how you dudes find the time to do it all.
The side quest structure when it comes to like gaining companion relationship points or companion favor is a little bit screwy. Why the fuck did that quest get me Red 13's approval? He didn't like her. It's whatever. They've done it a few times.